Okay, so you want to be a fish and seafood shop manager, huh? I bet you're picturing someone behind a counter, maybe filleting some fish, tossing out the occasional pun, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of that.
But after really digging into this career path, it's way more than meets the eye.
Absolutely. It's surprisingly complex. You need business smarts, you need people skills, and a real grasp of the whole seafood industry.
Let's talk about that work environment for a sec. The career guide makes it sound pretty intense, definitely not for someone who likes things quiet.
That's for sure. It's fast-paced. Imagine juggling customer orders,
Right.
right? And then on top of that, you've got inventory that's literally changing every single day.
And of course, it's food, so keeping everything fresh.
Exactly. Quality is huge.
And then there's the people factor. The guide had mentioned you're constantly interacting with customers, suppliers, your own staff.
It's like managing this whole ecosystem, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to know how to negotiate with suppliers, make sure you're getting good prices, but also keep those customers happy so they come back for more.
That actually brings up a good point about transferable skills. So, say you're a fish and seafood shop manager, right? And maybe you want to move into, I don't know, a corporate purchasing role or something. Would those negotiation skills actually translate?
All the time. Think about it. You're always using those muscles, whether you're convincing a customer to try a new fish or getting a better deal from a supplier on a bulk order. That's negotiation and persuasion. And those are listed as key skills right in the career guide.
So it's not just about being good with fish, it's about being good with people too.
Exactly. And it's not just about talking a good game, right? You have to really know your stuff, like understand the product inside and out. Because for your customers, you're the expert.
They're coming to you for advice too, not just to buy.
Exactly. Like, what's the freshest catch? What's the best way to cook this? They want to know.
So, okay, let's say you've put in the time at the fish counter, you've learned the trade, but what's next? What does career progression even look like in this field?
Well, the career guide actually lays it out pretty clearly.
Mhm.
Usually you're starting as a shop assistant, right? You're learning the ropes, everything from identifying all the different kinds of fish to how to store them properly.
Getting your hands dirty, literally.
Yeah, for sure. And then as you gain more experience, you move up, maybe to a supervisory role. Now you're overseeing a team, managing the day-to-day stuff, even dabbling in inventory a bit.
And that's probably good training for becoming a full-on manager one day, right? Where you're responsible for the whole shebang.
Exactly. You're looking at the big picture then, making sure the shop is profitable.
Hmm.
And for some people, it even goes beyond that. Senior manager, overseeing multiple locations, that kind of thing.
Wow, so you could start at the fish counter and end up running a whole chain of seafood restaurants, or what?
It's possible. You develop some serious leadership and business skills on this path. And there's this other cool section in the guide, alternative titles, it's called. Basically, it shows you other jobs your experience could lead to.
Like what? Give us some examples.
So it's not unusual for someone who's managed a fish shop to move on to managing other types of food places,
Mhm.
a deli, a specialty food store, maybe even a department within a bigger supermarket.
That makes sense. A lot of those core skills would transfer over pretty well, I'd imagine. Managing inventory, making sure the products are high quality, the customer service aspect.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Sometimes these skills can even translate to fields you wouldn't expect. I actually knew this woman. She used to run this super busy fish market in Seattle, and then she ended up becoming a project manager in tech. Can you believe that?
Wow, that's quite a jump. What did she say was the key to making that transition?
She said that working in the fish market, it taught her how to handle pressure, how to juggle a million things at once, and how to communicate clearly with all kinds of different people. And those skills, she said, those were invaluable in her new role.
It sounds like that kind of high pressure customer facing environment really forces you to be adaptable and resilient, huh?
Totally. And those are qualities that employers in any industry are going to look for. Speaking of adapting, I think it's time we address the elephant in the room. Or maybe we should say, the giant squid in the room. Huh.
You're talking about technology, right?
Bingo. Because even the seafood industry isn't immune to technological advancements.
Yeah, the future is digital fish section really caught my eye in the guide. What kind of tech are we talking about here?
Well, technology is changing everything from how these shops source their products to how they manage inventory, how they market themselves, even how they handle customer service.
So like what? Instead of relying on handwritten notes and gut feelings, they've got data to back up their decisions now.
Exactly. A lot of them are using special software these days that tracks their inventory in real time, helps them minimize waste, make sure they got the freshest stuff on hand, And when it comes to marketing, social media is huge now.
Oh, I bet. I can already picture those Instagram-worthy photos of the day's catch.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just about reeling in new customers. It's about building a loyal following,
Sure.
sharing recipes, cooking tips, making that connection online.
So it's not just about being a fishmonger anymore. It's about being a digital fishmonger, too. You need that tech savvy.
100%. The modern fish and seafood shop manager, they've got to be comfortable with technology and willing to use it to their advantage.
And I feel like that's where platforms like RoleCatcher come in, right? Providing people with the tools and resources to adapt to these changing demands.
Exactly. RoleCatcher gives you those insights into industry trends, helps you figure out what skills you need, even offers AI help with things like tailoring your resume and practicing for interviews.
Speaking of interviews, the guide has a whole section on common interview questions. Super helpful for anyone thinking about this career path.
Definitely. And those questions really give you a peek into what employers are looking for. For instance, one of the questions is, how would you make sure the fish and seafood products were of the highest quality?
Which is a big deal, obviously. You don't want to be selling subpar seafood.
Right. And it's not just about knowing your different types of fish. It's about understanding quality control, how to store things properly, and finding suppliers who are all about sustainability and ethical sourcing.
You got to be able to talk the talk, A&D, walk the walk.
Yep. And educate your customers, too. Build that trust and transparency.
There was another question that stood out to me. It was, what strategies would you use to increase sales and make those customers happy?
Ah, yes, the million-dollar question. It gets at the heart of running a successful business. It's not just about selling something. It's about creating an experience, making people want to come back for more.
So you could get creative, like maybe offer cooking demonstrations, partner with some local chefs, even host seafood-themed events.
Now you're thinking. It's about getting people excited, thinking outside the box. Or maybe we should say, thinking outside the fish tank. Huh.
I love it. I have to say, this whole conversation has been eye-opening. I never would have guessed there was so much to learn about the world of fish and seafood shop managers.
It's definitely a role that often flies under the radar, but it's surprisingly complex and demanding. And you know what? I'd even say it's exciting.
Okay, so we're back, and I don't know about you, but I'm still thinking about those digital fishmongers. This whole deep dive into fish and seafood shop managers has been so interesting, you know? Like, I thought I knew a thing or two about picking out fresh fish, but this is another level.
Right. It really goes beyond what you see at the surface.
Totally. We talked about business skills, managing people, even tech skills now. Who would thought?
It's crazy how much the industry has changed, even just in the last few years. But it shows you how important it is to be adaptable, right?
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
For sure. And especially in a field like this where, like you said, it's a perishable product. You've got to be on top of trends. There's competition.
Keeps you on your toes.
It does. And one of the things that really stood out to me was all the different career paths this could lead to. We talked about, yeah, you could start as an assistant and work your way up to managing a shop, but then there are those less obvious transitions, right? Like that woman you mentioned, the fish market manager turned tech project manager.
Oh, yeah. She was amazing.
Yeah.
And her story, I think it's so inspiring because it proves that the skills you learn in this line of work, they're valuable. Like being able to solve problems on the fly, communicate effectively, handle those high-stress situations. Those are things employers everywhere are looking for.
Absolutely. So, I mean, for anyone listening who might be feeling a little stuck, you know, in a rut with their career, or even if you're just starting out and you want something that'll keep you challenged, this could be it.
It really could. And if you've ever thought about starting your own business, the food industry, it's a great place to do it. We see it all the time. People who start out in a fish market, learn the business from the ground up, and then bam, they open their own successful seafood spot.
That's the dream. Be your own boss, share your passion for good food with people.
And maybe even become a part of your local community, a neighborhood staple.
I love that. Okay, so picture this. In a few years, we have you back on the show.
Oh no, here we go.
But this time, you're not the fish and seafood expert. You're the successful entrepreneur.
From fishmonger to podcast guest, that's the dream, I guess.
But seriously, I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is that you should always be curious, right? Be open to new challenges because you never know what skills you might pick up along the way.
100%. Every experience, every job, even if it doesn't seem like it at the time, it's a chance to learn and grow.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed the little journey into the world of fish and seafood shop managers.
Next time you're at the fish counter, take a second to think about everything that went into getting that fresh catch right there in front of you.
It's a lot more than you might think. All right, until next time, everyone, happy diving.